Mrs. Sims, and we are back with more London Detective Mysteria in a Keiichi's round. Yay! And the last part we left off, we were just starting the new chapter, The Aspiring Disciple. So that is where we are. This is the very first part of that. So, woohoo! Anyway, I was perusing the morning paper, as I always did each day after taking breakfast. Has something caught your attention, my lady? You might say that. It says here a black magic cult was attempting to perform some manner of ritual beneath a London church, which we saw in Watson's round. Interesting. Like they tie them all together. And what's more, it was discovered they were planning to use abducted children as ritual sacrifices. How awful! My voice is not normal right now. I can tell. Wow. This isn't the first time this cult has done so and become front page news either. Indeed, I've heard of them as well. Pendleton nodded, preparing a tea set. As I recall, many of the children were so inspired by the cult that they denied ever being taken against their will upon rescue, as though they were under some sort of spell. What a terrible ordeal these incidents must be for the parents. Most of the victims were young boys from poor families. We're quite fortunate Scotland Yard found them before the ritual took place. My worry is that the majority of the cultists escaped capture. Hold on. I'm allergic to recording. I'm not kidding. I've sat here, I've been awake for like 3 hours now. Okay, like 2.5 hours, whatever. But I've been sitting here in my living room, like doing stuff, had breakfast, blah, blah, blah. Sit down to record. Now I sneeze. I've not sneezed at all today. Until now. I don't know. Wow. Anyway. Oh, wait, did I just read that? That my worry is that the majority of the cultists escaped capture. Yes, I did before I sneezed. The very idea of them continuing their work makes my blood run cold. But you know, how much truth is there to this black magic? Pendleton's face is like, I mean, I'm an elf prince and I'm like 700 years old. I'm just saying. Like, I don't know if that's black magic though, but still. Surely you're not developing an interest in curses and witchery. Unless there might be some unfortunate souls whose death you seek. Pendleton stared with an exaggerated look of fear and disbelief. I love how everything he does is exaggerated. That's why I love Pendleton. Goodness, no! Don't even speak of such dark things so early in the morning. I have no interest in these occult dabblings. You say so now, but I remember you once said something that suggested otherwise. You said that, if you could have but a single wish, you'd wish to be endowed with magic to grant yourself 100 wishes. In its shadow often lingers large sums of money. You're making it sound more appealing, Pendleton. It's the opposite of what you want to do. It's not unheard of for ideology and religion to serve as veneers to conceal the world of the worst of criminal activity. The Scotland Yard has no end of trouble working to unravel their mysteries. Locations such as churches and graveyards are popular amongst people of that sort, as some claim the passage of souls is the most prevalent there. I'm curious, Pendleton. Of what? Have you ever wished a death curse upon someone? Only God knows for certain. I think I shall simply leave it to your imagination, my lady. Yeah, probably all the time. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's got magic and he could death curse us if he wanted to. At times, Pendleton's smile could be an instrument of nightmares, much like it was in this moment. I love him so much. God. Every time there's so many little facets to him that they just keep putting on. You're just like, it just gets better. Like, as you've taken an interest in souls and specters, may I presume you've heard the story of the ghost ship that appears every night upon the Thames? A ghost ship? Ruh-roh, Raggy! I swear to God, that was so Scooby-Doo. A ghost ship? Piqued your interest, have I? And the story goes that after London's bells ring the midnight toll, an unidentified ship breaks through the fog. You want to sit around a campfire with s'mores and have Pendleton tell you ghost stories, fucking don't you? Yeah, you do. It's said to be crewed by the shades of warriors who perished with ambitions left unfulfilled. By night, they sail the river and keep watch over London. Some also warn that children who don't do as their parents tell them will have their souls stolen away by these ghostly warriors whilst they sleep. I, I think I've heard enough, Pendleton. This is just one of those tall tales parents tell their children to keep them in line. But where one sees smoke, there must be a fire, no? If you find yourself near the river in the deep of night, you really can hear the sound of children crying somewhere. I said that was enough, Pendleton! Please! I forgot the please part, sorry. The nerve of this man! Always trying to rile me in some way or another. His lips simply curled into an eerie smile, or perhaps cryptic would be more apt. Fucking love Pendleton. Oh, God. After he saw me off, still with the same unsettling grin upon his face, I made my way to school. Morning, Spacey! Good morning, Kobayashi. Kobayashi was the first person to greet me as I entered the classroom. I could see a number of different tools scattered across his desk, more than just his special 7. Has Keiichi not arrived? I'm used to seeing him studying before anyone else has walked through the door. Keiichi's having a little tryst down the courtyard. A tryst, you say? What? Is that a joke? No sooner had Kobayashi spoke did Watson, who had been within earshot, leap into the conversation with a shout. So he's meeting with a girl? I believe you're referring to the chap from Harrington's primary school who was here. I noticed he was following Keiichi earlier. That's the one. Oh, that's what you meant. So it was a boy. Even so, the Academy's primary school is no short walk. What could he have wanted? Want to know? Why not take a peek then? Kobayashi, I seem to recall Keiichi telling you to tidy your desk. I can do that later. And even if I don't, the worst thing that can come of it is him getting cross with me. It'll be fine. Are you certain that'll do, Kobayashi? I felt as though, if the choice were mine to make, I'd prefer to avoid arousing Keiichi's ire. Kobayashi's tidying was far from complete, but we made our way to the courtyard regardless. Seemed to get to school really early and have plenty of time to just wander around and dilly-dally, right? Upon reaching the courtyard, we found Keiichi with a young, dark-haired boy who could not have been older than 10 years. Please teach me! I'm sorry, but I've no intention of taking any students. The unflappable detective's brow lifted in uncertainty. He didn't quite know how to handle this child. Much like you, I am still a student. There's still so much I need to learn, so much training yet to do. Your time would be more gainfully spent attending to the words of your teachers, rather than seeking instruction from the likes of me. This boy, Rick, persisted in his request, but Keiichi remained firm. After several more protests, he relented and departed. Kobayashi, might I ask what you're doing here? Certainly you're not already finished with the rubbish around your desk. How did he know we were here? He addressed us without having turned his back. What? How are you accusing me of not finishing my work? Who were you watching? Of course not. It's a logical deduction. There's no way you could have finished tending to that mess in so short a time. Oh, that's true. But I'll have you know none of that is rubbish. Those time-tested tools have been there for me in both good times and bad, and... I confess to being more surprised that you've accompanied him, Miss Whitley. Good morning. Is that boy we saw a student of yours? How could you have been watching this entire time and reached that conclusion is beyond my how you could have been watching this entire time and reached that conclusion is beyond my comprehension. I happened to pass by at an opportune moment and saved him from the torment of a group of older students. Since then, he's followed me here and there, insisting that I take him on as a pupil. Uh-huh. For when you fought those boys behind the gymnasium with a stick, right? Oh, a stick? I could hardly draw my blade against those who are unarmed and have no martial training to speak of, after all. Keiichi spoke matter-of-factly, adjusting the katana where it was slung at his waist. Would it truly be so burdensome to take on just one student? Regrettable it may be, but I'm afraid I don't have the time for it. Moreover, the relationship between student and teacher is not one that should be taken or formed lightly. Oh. As I observed Keiichi's downcast face, I realized the gravity of my suggestion. The issue of masters and pupils was a topic about which Keiichi was rather sensitive. I could guess at what he may be feeling. Japanese martial arts must appear in his eyes as an exceptional novelty. I've heard the famous detective Sherlock Holmes is a skilled practitioner of jujitsu, too. You think that was it? I was under the impression he wanted to be as strong as his rescuer. Being Japanese had nothing to do with it. Take me, for example. I know I'm rather jealous of your martial prowess. I'm no good at hand-to-hand combat. Kobayashi, I told you this once before. Kobayashi wore a cheerful smile, but Keiichi's expression darkened. To those who were born here, we are nothing more than outsiders. And that isn't true. I couldn't help but interject. The two of you are our friends. We think of you as peers, not outsiders. Friends, huh? A noble sentiment, Miss Whitley, but broad-minded folk like yourself are the exception, rather than the rule in this world. That said, I wouldn't expect the reality to be apparent to one born and raised in English. English. I know I'm pronouncing it the wrong way, but it's like I'm not going to be able to pronounce it right without putting a weird accent on it. That's going to be odd in the... Anyway. I wasn't sure how I ought to reply. My apologies. I've been cruel. I only wish for you to know there are things about a country, about a people, that only those who have come from the outside can know. Keiichi then returned to the classroom, leaving both Kobayashi and I where we stood. Keiichi, his suggestion of things known to him but unknowable to me served to broaden the distance between us. In truth, I felt lonelier the more I dwelt on it. I don't want you to misunderstand, Spacey. Keiichi and I are grateful for the warm welcome you've given us. How to say it? Being wrapped in that warmth makes the chill outside seem colder than it is. What do you mean? For a brief moment, Kobayashi's expression betrayed an uncharacteristic gloom as well. On second thought, you don't have to worry about it. We should get back to the classroom. Our tardiness will only give him one more excuse to be grumpy. I suppose you're right. I know what he meant. Don't pursue the matter any further. The best I could do with that subtle press was to nod in agreement and return. Good morning, class. Are you all right, Kobayashi? Your desk is in a state of disarray. I'm fantastic. Pardon the mess, sir. Really, I insist you cast it to the back of your mind, Mr. Mackenzie. Would you continue? Very well. Keiichi was in usual form, displaying no mercy to those who forgot their homework, fell asleep in class, or were slovenly in their dress. Lessons ended. All was well. This seems as good a stopping point as any, so we shall leave off here and resume tomorrow. Do take care on your way home. Oh, Keiichi and Kobayashi, I should like you to stay behind. I have a small matter that requires discussing. Why me? I'm not a class representative. If he's asked you to stay, you're staying. It's not unusual for Mr. Mackenzie to speak with Keiichi after school, but Kobayashi as well? The urge to listen in was growing within me. I'm curious what all this is about. I'm caught eavesdropping. I'll surely remember. I'm curious. Remembering what I had heard in the courtyard, I once again permitted my curiosity to get the better of me. What does Mr. Mackenzie want with them? If they do happen to notice me, I shall pretend that I have a question about today's lessons. Perfect. No one could argue the idea. With confidence growing, I hurried out of the classroom. It was as I was halfway down the staircase that their voices reached my ears. I'm sorry to have kept you waiting for so long. I have a new job for the both of you. A client has requested the school to search for a stolen family heirloom, and it would please me so if you two were the ones charged with finding it. You'll find the address in the materials presented. If I may ask, why does the client know to expect us? Oh, does the client know to expect us? More precisely, that we're Japanese? He is aware and takes no issue. Quite the contrary, in fact. When I told him you were both from the East, here to study abroad, he responded with fascination and was very keen to give you the job. I see. Keiichi's face alighted with genuine relief. I regret what happened with the job I last assigned you through the academy. It never crossed my mind that the client would flatly turn down your aid for no other reason but your race. How could anyone do that? This is a poignant frickin' path, isn't it? It's like, wow. You don't think back. I mean, even still, it's prevalent now with people like with racism and shit, but you just don't think of it being as bad. You're like, okay, there's always going to be like a handful of douchebags, but you don't realize that back in the day it was like almost everyone was more of a douchebag because more people were unfamiliar with other you know what I mean? It was harder to travel. Like now you just hop on a plane, you go someplace. Okay, you don't just hop on a plane and go, but you know what I mean? It's easier to go places. People move to different countries, different areas. Like you get a better sense of other people, and it's easier to get information, especially with the internet and everything. Like you can get immersed in other cultures without leaving your house. Okay, not completely, but you know what I mean? Like you can learn more about other cultures easier now than you could back then. And that's part of what it is. Like the dislike and the hate and the fear of other people is not knowing, is the not understanding. Like that's all it is. Like I hate you because I don't understand you. But the thing is if you get to understand people, you'd be like, oh, okay, I see what it is. Or you just, and it's a respect thing too. Like you have to respect other people. Like a lot of people don't. But you know what I'm saying? Like, so it was a lot harder. But you don't think about it until you're presented with this and you're like, well, that's really, you know what? It was probably way worse back then to be like, you know what I mean? Like, you think about how bad it is still. Like, you're like, wow, I can't believe we still have these fucking problems with people being racist assholes, right? Think about how much fucking worse it was years and years. I mean, we're not that far away from when it was really bad here still. But you know what I mean? Like, that's sad. You're like, oh, it was way worse. Because, like, a bunch of fucking white people in England were like, the fuck is this? What's going on here? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're probably not used to seeing a lot of foreigners that aren't white in England. You know what I mean? Like, think about it. Who's traveling to England, like, most of the time? What, like German people? I mean, the worst you're going to have is like, oh, they don't speak our language. But, like, but then you're dealing with someone that's completely different. I mean, shouldn't really surprise anyone, considering the fact that, like, hi, well, we need to build a wall. Oh, dear God. So dumb. So dumb. But it's probably a lot worse. Like, I don't know. Aw. That's sad. I feel bad for them. You just want to hug them both. You poor things. It's okay, we love you. Anyway. Don't feel guilty, sir. It was his fault, not yours. It's all in the past now. Kobayashi has the right of it. We're very grateful that you would see fit to extend us more work. Thank you very much. Keiichi, you stand right alongside Holmes as one of this class's most capable and promising students. I want to do what I'm able to ensure your efforts in coming to England and your exceptional work since are rewarded. And know that I consider both of you to be my beloved students. Mr. Mackenzie. Thank you so much, sir. He's right. Keiichi's diligence should be rewarded. All he does is in the name of bettering himself. He's a better person than most of you guys. Well, I mean, everybody in this game is like pretty fucking, aside from the bad people, but like, all of us are pretty phenomenal people. You know what I mean? Like, none of the students are like, we don't like them because they're different. Everyone's like pretty welcoming, because otherwise you'd be like, I gotta date this asshole. I don't want to date this dick. Like, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, the worst that we have in the class is Jack, who's a murderer. But like, he just minds his business and he's not racist, so it's okay. He murders people, but he's okay. There's like levels of like shit that you get to put. You're like, I mean, he tried to stab us. We're fine. He kind of murders other people, but I mean, like, given his backstory, it's okay. Like, he's right. No, okay, I've drawn the line. There's like a line, and apparently murder is okay. It's not okay. Like, murder is not okay. I'm not saying that, but you know what I mean? Like, when you're playing these games, like, he's a murderer. We'll still date him, and it'll be great. What? There's so many problems with that, and I'm not even going to analyze them. I'm just going to go with it and be like, all right, fine, cool, we're here. This is what we're doing. Thank God. I'm glad to see Mr. Mackenzie is fully aware of Keiichi's qualities, but he's always been a fair teacher to us all. Because he has a fun relative who likes skeletons. Just always makes me think of Mr. Eugen. It always makes me think of him. Because that's what gives me that creepy vibe, but like the fun kind of creep, like where you're like, he's creepy, but like not in like, oh God, he's gonna murder me, but like in the, you're kind of amusing. Anyway. Is there some way we can help you, Miss Whitley? Hi, Spacey. What are you doing there? I just forgot how to walk for a minute. Correct me if I'm mistaken, but you weren't once again. No, I simply had a question. Yes, a question for Mr. Mackenzie about the material we covered in class today, but I forgot what it is. Then by all means, will you show me which part? Dash it, I forgot to think of what to ask. The part I want to know is... Excuse us, Mr. Mackenzie. We're going to visit our new client. The more time that passes after a theft, the wider the search area grows. It is imperative we begin our investigation whilst the trail is fresh. Come, Kobayashi. Until next time, Mr. Mackenzie. Mr. Mackenzie. And you also, Miss Whitley. Wait for me! I had the urge to call out to them before they left. Good luck, and take care. Thanks. We'll give it our best. Kobayashi smiled, waving to me. Keiichi, meanwhile, stood still. The pause was as such that I thought he would leave without responding. We will. What, no love points? Just 2 words. That was all. Seconds later, they were gone. Am I correct in assuming it was out of concern for them that brought you here, Miss Whitley? You are. I apologize for lying, sir. Shan't hold it against you. I'm pleased to know they have a faithful friend in you. Nerves drained away to be replaced with a modest happiness. I was thankful again to know of his steadfast support of Keiichi and Kobayashi. You know, it's the first time I felt sincerely glad we have you as our teacher. Oh? The very first time? We parted ways, after which I motioned to return to the classroom. I love that. The first time. He's like, that was rude. That was harsh, girl. What you doing? You're so quiet. I'm worrying. You're just snuggling, taking naps? Okay. He's like, it's Sunday. I want to just lounge and be quiet. I had to pass the courtyard. I expected nothing of note to rise on my venturing back, but of course, something would happen. The scene was an uncomfortable one to witness. I don't want to read this. Also, why you gotta say this? Because this Adam kid, when he pops up, you're like, he's pretty. No, you're a jerk. Well, the hell. How long do you plan to laze about? How hard can it be to deal with what yellow-faced monkey? I can't believe I had to read that. God, I understand there's a warning in the beginning of the game, like there's some racist shit in here because we're trying to give it, but like, it makes me feel horrible having to read it. Oh, good lord. That's more awkward than reading the sex scenes. It's like, oh, and really, you say that, but he's not a simple one. I've never seen him let his guard down for an instant. When we get close, he'll do us in before we can try anything. He's in the detective's course, too. One wrong move on our part, and we'll be the ones in a tight spot. I have to make them sound as douchey as possible. Derpy douchebag weasels. There's only one person they're talking about. No one's guard is better than Keiichi's. I like how she went with that, like, oh, they must be talking about him because he's got a really good guard, as opposed to, like, well, they made a racist comment about someone who is Japanese, and there's only 2 Japanese people that I know. Like, I like it. Props for her for that. Like, as I overheard this conversation being held in the shadows, I stopped cold in my tracks, my ears straining to catch every word. I mean, and obviously they're talking about, like, Keiichi, because it's Keiichi's path. Like, you know what I mean? But, like, if they were like, that guy's such an asshole, you'd be like, and we're in Holmes' route, we'd be like, Holmes, Watson, like, you know what I mean? You know who they're talking about based on whose route you're in, but, oh, God. Anyway. How about we report him to the yard? Say that Oriental in our school's been stealing around town. You ever met a rich one? They're as filthy as they are poor. They won't ask questions before making the arrest. I like it. We'll have it so that bespectacled baboon can never show his face in this city ever again. What horror! All Keiichi did was save Rick. Flushed, I felt like striding out and confronting them then and there. But I knew well enough I stood no chance against a group of boys, each of them taller and no doubt stronger than me. They're racist and rapists? Like, Jesus, like, what the fuck? Like, a girl comes out and says, you can be like, well, okay, whatever, and you wouldn't just walk away. My God, they really are douchebags. Why you gotta make fucking Adam pretty, though? Like, you're like, could you make him at least unattractive? They're like, let's make this pretty boy a douche, and you're like, oh. Damn it. What if they bound me? Carried me off? I would only make the situation worse. And if they bound you and carried you off, holy shit! Kind of horrible. We already know they're horrible human beings, but they just keep getting worse. Jesus. I need to find a Keiichi straight away. As fast as my legs would carry me, I rushed off. I first went to the boys' dormitory to see if Keiichi and Kobayashi had returned from seeing their client 2 minutes later. They weren't home. The only thing I could do was wait at the entrance. My efforts proved worthwhile. I mean, they have to come back eventually. Hey, Spacey! Oh, what are you doing there? I'm just waiting for you because I love you guys. Wait, have I gone insane, or didn't I just say that exact thing to you earlier today? You're very sane. You said that very same exclamation with the same word-for-word greeting. It's a very queer thing how often our paths have crossed, Miss Whitley. Very. Hello again! No, that wasn't it. I had something important to say. Exceptionally important, and yet I was greeting them normally. Was it because the subject itself was discomforting? How was work? Will it be difficult to find your client's heirloom? Miss Whitley, pardon, but we cannot divulge such sensitive information. What a nice old bloke he was, Spacey. As friendly as you can picture. Based on his description, we have a pretty good idea of what we're looking for. Keiichi made a sketch with the details we were given, so that should make the search simple enough. Does client confidentiality mean nothing to you? Keiichi followed with a long, exasperated sigh. Of course it does. I saw the sketch, Spacey. It'll be loads useful in tracking out all those vases, to be sure. All of them? There's more than one heirloom? 5 in total, forming a complete set. That's all you need to know. And now, what business have you here this late in the day? A request? A question? What's the best way to go about this? I need to tell him. There's something I must tell you right away. So I came as quickly as I was able and awaited you here. Thank you. I'm so anxious to tell him. No, his query brought the conversation I'd overheard in the courtyard back to the forefront of my thoughts, and in my desperation, I couldn't help but let my lips run loose. Well, he could not fathom what I was about to say, certainly. Kobayashi, I'd like you to go inside and begin work. You should begin by organizing our maps of London's districts. Now? Is there a problem? Fine. I'll get started. See you in a bit, Spacey. Kobayashi headed into the dormitory. Oh, Keiichi, I'm not here to tell you that I'm here to confess my feelings to you, although I have them, but I don't realize it yet. So, what was it you came all this way to tell us? I relayed to him all that I had overheard the boys saying in the courtyard. He listened in silence as I spoke. I expected a great reaction of some sort, only to receive something different. It pains me to inform you of this after you've gone out of your way to appraise me, Miss Whitley, but I know. They've been targeting me for some time now. They have? It appears they've been waiting to catch me the moment I let my mind wander, and yet the realization has slowly been dawning on them that it isn't going to happen. I invited this upon myself by my own actions. As such, it's no one's responsibility to deal with it but my own. That's not true. You should tell someone. All this fluster only to learn I've just been meddling. I want you to know how appreciative I am you went to such lengths for our sake. What? I'm happy you care about my well-being, but it's more than that. I don't know when I last had someone tell me earnestly to take care when I left, or when I last had someone greet me as I came home. Oh, she's so precious. He's the adorable, awkward, nerd. He's got he's the glasses character. I love the glasses characters. Come on, you know I knew. But, as we go down this path, Mark, you're you're so adorable. I just want to squeeze you, poor fucking thing. You just want to hold him. It's okay. It's okay, sweetie. I'll greet you every night when you go home. I could have imagined the way his features softened, but I was hoping I didn't. Though I'm unsure whether I can condone your loitering around in front of the boys' dormitory this late, you might refrain from doing so in the future. If anything were to happen to you, that would be, bad. You're right. All I could do was nod. Keiichi escorted me all the way to the carriage that would see me home. I was safely taken to the mansion and had a pleasant, restful evening. After lessons the next day, I witnessed a group of officers from Scotland Yard at the front gate. What could they be doing at the academy? In that moment, I recalled what I overheard those boys discussing in the courtyard just the day before. My stomach churned. A pale-haired Oriental student. Yes, you fit the description. And don't suspect there's another one like you. Have you some business with me, officer? Few of the students witnessing this interaction appeared concerned for Keiichi. The majority glared with suspicion. You've been reported for thievery. I'll need you to come with me and explain yourself. What's all this about? Certainly, but first, could you detail this accusation? Keiichi responded to the officer in a calm voice, stretching out his arm to keep Kobayashi back. Why, when you are already well aware. You stole from an honest baker at Covenant Garden Market, so I know would trust your damn kind. A moment, please! Did that shopkeeper make the report personally? Of course they did. They also reported seeing a student clad in this academy's uniform as well. Uniform? But surely you can't presume Keiichi the culprit based on that alone. Of course not. We also received a report from a student here informing us that a silver-haired Easterner was going about the city stealing and raising trouble. The student added that the suspect was very cautious so as not to attract the attention of the instructors. As his activity went thus undetected, he did as he pleased, which is why our intervention was requested. That story's so flimsy that it could blow away with the wind. Our investigation shall decide whether these claims have any merit. We cannot ignore a report made by a fair citizen of London. But Keiichi is, I'll be like, really? Because I heard 3 boys here planning on lying to you and saying this. So you know what? Go fuck yourself, buddy. Kick him in the nuts. I could not be a time traveler because I would not be able to be like, I'm just a proper woman. I would like punch him. Like, punch him in the face, jump at my TARDIS and leave. Spacey's magic TARDIS appears. She jumps up, punches a cop in the face, jumps in the TARDIS, disappears. And they're like, what the fuck just happened? I don't know, but I appreciate that. Just saying. We don't want something dirty like that in our school. Take him away! Hurry up! There's no place for you crafty Asians here. As if to echo their hateful chorus, we heard insults and jeers hurled by onlookers. What was that? Care to say to get... Very well. You shall have my full cooperation. Keiichi... Reaching out once again to restrain his assistant, Keiichi's tone was nevertheless devoid of ire. Keiichi, you can't possibly be intending to go with them, can you? Miss Whitley, there's no hiding that I'm Japanese. I'm not British. I'm not a citizen of London. I knew before I set foot on Western soil that this was the sort of treatment I could expect. Trying to resist the police would only work to my detriment. This hurts so bad, poor thing. Besides, I'm used to this. But Keiichi, this problem is mine alone. Please, stop making this harder than it already is. Having said his part, Keiichi was led away by Scotland Yard to their waiting carriage. Keiichi... He'll manage. Keiichi has a good head on him. He'll be back before we know it. His reassurance was bereft of the usual pep and vigor. I could sense he didn't believe what he was saying, though we dearly wished he did. Master! The small boy appeared like magic at Kobayashi's side. This lasted mere seconds, for which had trembled to his knees and a quiver to his lips as he sprinted after the carriage in a futile attempt to reach it before stopping. Poor Rick. Kobayashi! Why did they take away Master Keiichi? When the boy returned to us, his eyes were puffy, face stained with tears. He clung to Kobayashi's sleeve as he pleaded, because a bunch of boys that are far too old to be bullying a tiny child like you are lying douche weasels. I mean, seriously. Fucking white people, man. I mean, seriously. It's because I'd never before seen such anguish in Kobayashi. Keiichi's manner was the same. He said he understood this treatment because of his status as a foreigner. And he may understand it, but that doesn't make it any less wrong. He doesn't deserve to be treated any lesser because he was born elsewhere. Applause for that. Anger surged within me, building and building till I was compelled to act. Be of good cheer, Rick. Keiichi won't be long. How do you know? I know because we'll bring him back. Right this way. What? Where are you going? To Covenant Garden Market. We've inquiries to make with his baker. It's the only way to prove Keiichi's innocence. I don't see any reason to object when sulking won't get anything done. After you, Spacey. Come, Kobayashi. Come, Rick. You've got like Kobayashi, Keiichi, Holmes, Watson, and Rick. Everyone has like a cool name, and you're like, and Rick. Anyway, we made our way in haste to Covent Garden Market. I said Covenant, don't I? Covent Garden Market. It's hard because Covent just... It's like a word that your brain doesn't want to say for some reason. I don't know. Our numerous questions upon finding the victim's stall ranged between broad and meticulous. Whatever there was to ask, whatever lead had to follow, new or planned, we brought it forth. The investigation was, in some sense, an immediate success. We learned of several thefts dating to before Keiichi had first set foot in the country. And then there was a most interesting detail. It was not one thief, but many, dressed in the same uniform, with no pale boy to be counted in their group. Let me guess, it was douchebag and his douchebag buddies. We took our findings to Scotland Yard. Well, if it isn't Miss Widley, I don't often see you outside the company of young Holmes. I don't remember Lestrade's voice or whatever. Inspector Lestrade! What fortune to run into the inspector right away, and there was no better man to approach for this. He was not perfect, naturally, a bit unreliable without detectives to aid him, but I knew he was a man who would prefer to listen rather than dismiss. I hope you don't say these shit out loud, Spacey. I mean, you're kind of unreliable without us teenagers to help you, but that was probably a bad thing to say out loud. Miss Whitley, you wouldn't happen to be holding your tongue on some ungracious thought about me, would you? No, of course not. Hey, Inspector, you may not always be the right man for the job, but I know you got a good heart, and right now, that suits my needs just fine. What's all this? I don't know if it's in your character if you're a sudden... Or if you are in a... Okay. I don't know if it's in your character if you're in a sudden state, but don't you get fresh with me, young man? Once he was calm, we reported our findings with conscientious detail. No, I was just thinking how wonderful it is to see you. You're just the man we need. You're so amazing. He's like, that sounds like bullshit. Yeah, but you want it, but you're good with it, right? Cool. I see. Sorry to hear of it. I shall go and recommend that he be released directly. You will? Your arrest of innocence is a poor showing of Scotland Yard's power of discernment. I want our people to trust our judgment. Also, it's one thing if you arrest someone wrongly because they were like, oh, there was some, like, somebody with, like, silver-haired boy in a uniform. Okay, well, but when you're like, no, he didn't look like that at all. And they're like, it was the Japanese kid. When you're literally arresting him just because he's Japanese. I mean, let's put it this way. Let's just say you're a Keiichi, and you come to England. What are the chances you're going to go around stealing shit? What are the odds that you're in your school uniform going to be going around stealing shit without a disguise? I'm just saying he's smarter than that, one. And two, a silver-haired Japanese kid in the school uniform. Well, gee, there's a plenty of those run... I mean, I'm just saying. It'd be like fucking obvious. Like, I'm not gonna go like grab a loaf of bread and run from a store and people are like, it's the pink-haired chick who just jumped in that fucking car right there. You know what I mean? When shit about you is blatantly obvious, you don't fucking do things that are going to get you in trouble. Like, I don't know, it was a white guy with brown hair. There's like a million white guys with brown hair. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of stupid that they're like, oh, well, that seems... You think that he'd be smarter than that. Like, if they were like, he obviously looked like he was in a disguise, then yes, you know. But I'm just saying. Come on. He's a detective. He's smarter than that. He'd have put on a fucking disguise. They'd be like, it was some lady. It was an Asian lady. And he'd be like, strange. I haven't seen an Asian lady around here. Look, what Keiichi likes to do on the weekends is his own kink, okay? Anyway. You're doing us a great service, Inspector. Of late, there has been a conspicuous number of cases involving foreigners charged with theft and kidnapping. Cases of children being abducted and trafficked abroad. Maybe this is many of my colleagues casting a wary eye towards foreigners of every stripe. It's a lamentable position to be in. Yeah, especially a teenage boy. He gave us his word again before he left. Not, again, Keiichi would be probably one of the best people to try to steal because he would know what to look for and what to hide and, like, whatever. You know, just, like, if you know how, like, I know how to solve murders, I'm probably the best person to, like, try to create an unsolvable murder. I mean, I'm just saying. But he would know to wear a disguise. I hope we can hold him to it. I'm certain he'll be well in no time. Keiichi's innocent. They can't keep him forever. That's true. He is innocent. We simply have to hope more to see that. Oh, we have to hope more see that. Okay, I was like, wait, what? Okay. We have to hope more see that. There you go, I read it better. Night passed. Morning arrived. I didn't know what to expect when I entered the classroom today, but to my elation, Keiichi was present. Keiichi! Good morning, Miss Whitley. He carried the same polite air he always did, as though nothing had happened. You know, if you continue standing there, our schoolmates won't be able to enter the classroom. Don't give me that! Are you well? Did the inspector intercede for you like he said he would? I stepped forwards and reached for his sleeve. Yes, he did. I could feel Keiichi's tense. I could feel Keiichi tense at my touch, though he made no move to shake free from my grasp. He likes it. Look at him. He's like, he's embarrassed. I want to know something, Miss Whitley. Why would you go so far for my sake? Because I love you. Why? That's a simple enough thing to answer. Because you're my friend. Because you're my school. Because you're important to me. That's the right answer. Hi. First of all, that's obvious. Because we're schoolmates. No. Because we're friends. Good. Because you're important to me. Best. Come on. Well, I knew what I felt. I did, but was unsure as how to phrase it. It's difficult to put into words, but you're important to me. And he's like, huh? What? Oh, I love it. Besides, I don't want to consider how things might be if you never return to us. I'd be lonely without you here. Lonely? Keiichi gave me a bewildered look. He's like, what? Poor little Bambi. You'd be lonely without me? Yes, of course I would. I see. I had no idea why he was looking at me with such a perplexion. I'm sorry. I'm unused to hearing such things from anyone. And Miss Whitley, how long are you going to Keiichi's eyes flickered awkwardly to where I still clung to his arm. Oh goodness! Look at me! I acted without thinking. I rushedly released my grip on his arm. You remind me of how assertive Western women can be. It's as if I learned something new whenever I'm with you. Oh, I could teach you some new things. What? Nothing? They'd be new for her too. I don't think that's the kind of thing Pendleton was tutoring her on. And if so, why would you even be trying to go out with these when you have Pendleton? For fuck's sake, I'm just saying. I want a Pendleton around someday. Still, it may not be the best idea for women to approach men with such a pronounced lack of caution. And why is that? I shall let you contemplate why. At any rate, I would ask that you not grab another's hands and arms without warning. The surprise nearly stopped my heart. But I've strayed from my initial point. Miss Whitley, I owe you a great debt. It was never my wish to do anything that would cause you inconvenience. You've never been an inconvenience to me, nor should you ever worry about doing so. You nearly stopped my heart. Why? Because I've never been judged by a girl. Oh, you poor fucking delicate flower. I'm afraid I cannot do that. I never forget my debts. Doubly so those of gratitude. If there's anything I can do for you, don't hesitate to let me know. I'd like to return the favor. Love me. Marry me. What? Nothing? Anything? Well, I can think of one thing. I think they meant think. They let Tim type. You have but to ask it. I want you to let me help you. I don't understand. I met with Keiichi and Kobayashi in front of their dormitory later. There was a plan, and I was eager to be partner. Kobayashi, too, responded eagerly to this news once relayed. That's the stuff! I know you'll be a great help tracking down those vases. I'm more surprised that Keiichi agreed to it. I often think he wouldn't be caught dead asking someone for help. For better or worse, I am a man of my word. So that's what happened. You set yourself up, and when she asked, well, here she is. You set yourself up. He's always been a strict fella, Spacey, but if there's one thing that'll break his code, it's his need to pay his debts. You found his secret. Hush, Kobayashi. I don't plan to abuse it. I'm just very pleased to work on this case with you.
And we'll be happy to have you, Spacey.
I am certain you'll be an excellent addition to our investigation. Keiichi spoke in a muted tone, still somewhat opposed to the whole affair. That he hadn't outright forbidden me from joining, however, showed a sign of change I welcomed. He just doesn't want you to get hurt. You're his delicate flower. According to the information they had gathered previously, the vases were made by the Regal Crown Dewsbury Porcelain Company. Wow. Regal Crown Dewsbury Porcelain Company. That's a mouthful. The same workshop that crafted porcelainware for Her Majesty. It went without saying that they were of considerable value and likely to fetch a large sum if fenced at an antique shop. The client was flush with funds to buy the vases back if necessary, and by the time I joined the investigation, they'd already located the shop to which they'd been sold. Although they had been able to successfully purchase 2 of the vases, the remaining 3 had unfortunately been sold. The situation as it stood led us back into the antique shop.
Blast it! You're back for more, aren't you?
He doesn't appear to be fond of you, Keiichi. Did something happen last time? If you must know, he was doing a poor job looking after his store's prices, so I took it upon myself to give him some advice.
Some advice, you say? You picked faults with all my merchandise.
It was a perfectly justifiable reaction, given the thick layer of dust blanketing your curios. I pity your collection, and no one who sees them will care to buy them.
Yes. We're only here today for information on the people who bought these vases.
Kobayashi inserted himself into the conversation forcibly to brandish a detailed sketch of the desired items. I read that really fucking weird, but anyway.
If you have any information you can provide, even the smallest detail, it would be a great help.
It was this intervention which calmed the shopkeeper and gleaned from him just what we needed. Shall we review what we've learned then? The first vase was purchased by an elderly woman with a walking stick. At the time of purchase, she wore a plumed hat and had on her fingers several rings. The shopkeeper mentioned she browsed for a while before settling on the vase, also requesting that it be carefully wrapped for ease of transport. And based on her appearance, my first guess would be that she's a noblewoman.
The second vase was bought by a man with a mustache.
To be precise, a mustachioed man dressed in black.
I was about to add that before you interrupted me. As I was saying, at first this man displayed an interest in all the remaining vases. He was visibly irritated when the owner would only consent to selling him a single vase. Seems he drives a hard bargain.
I mean, I have 2 vases and I'm selling them for $100. Somebody wants to come in and buy both vases. No, I'm only going to take them both, bitch. Woo! What if nobody... I mean, obviously somebody's going to come in and buy the second one. But what if he's like, I'll give you an extra $100. Okay. Like, it's likely you wanted to hold the others and later sell them at a loftier price. I'm sure their value will only increase with time.
And yet after selling him that one vase, the man left without incident. He was a complete gentleman.
I'm glad it didn't come to an argument. The third and final vase, we were told, was purchased by a young woman. Her hair was bound up untidily, and the owner noted she seemed to be in quite a hurry. Her sleeves were rolled up, and her palms bore no small amount of scratches and scrapes. That's quite the contrast from the first buyer. Could she have been on her way to work?
From the sound of it, she showed no interest in any of the store's other antiques. She entered, purchased the vase, and left,
Which sounds like she had been there before. Or someone sent her. Logically, it would be the man that sent her, but... There we have it! I have an idea who we should investigate first. It's the elderly woman, because she's probably the young woman, but... the thing says elderly woman, but you get... With the lady, you're like, okay, it could be the elderly woman. The young woman was disguised as the elderly woman. Or the elderly woman disguised herself as the young woman. She wouldn't have been... You know what I mean? But, like, she disguised herself as the elderly woman. Or the elderly woman sent a maid to go fetch it for her. Or... the man in black could have done it. You know what I mean? Like, they're both in there, they see the vases, and that woman just came and knew what she wanted. Somebody sent her. So, why not start with that elderly woman? According to the owner, she browsed the shop for a while before settling on the vase and specifically requested that it be carefully wrapped. A wrapping of that sort suggests to me that it may have been intended as a gift. She used a walking stick as well, which leads me to believe she isn't especially mobile. She couldn't comfortably walk more than a short distance. As by all appearances she's a member of the nobility, she most likely arrived by carriage. Agreed. And that gives us our next step. And what would happen to be that next step? Wait for her to come to the shop again. Okay, I mean, the answer's in the guide, but still. I say we ask if anyone along the street noticed the carriage she used. She may have hailed a cab or used her family's carriage, but whatever the choice, if we can't discover where she went, we'll never be able to reclaim the vase. It could take some time, but that's absolutely the best way of finding her. The three of us went our separate ways and began asking locals if they recalled an older woman boarding a carriage. Fortunately, her unusual attire rendered her memorable to several people we inquired, and these reports led us to the coachman of the carriage she had called upon to transport her home. Having been thus presented her address, we continued to her house, where, after some persuading, we convinced her to sell us the vase, which she had indeed bought as a present for her husband. We continued our search for the missing vases. The more we searched, the more we realized tracking down all three would take more time than we anticipated. And more time still as we were interrupted. Dun dun dun. I'm actually going to stop it here, and we're going to find out why we were interrupted. More time as we were interrupted. So we'll start here. And more time still as we were interrupted. But why? Anyway. So I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.